I bring you special greetings here on the Pan-African Drive. Of course, it remains a platform that is meant to inspire and motivate the current generation of young Africans in the actualization of their respective dreams, preaching the message of peace and national unity, as well as revitalizing the Africanization policy that speaks about good governance, social justice, democracy, human rights, and most importantly, the African unity. And it comes to on Teledar TV, the best online outlet, not just in the Gambia, but by extension, the rest of the African continent. And this remains a platform that is meant to build bridges between and amongst Africans in every ramification. We are super blessed, should I say, very honored and privileged to be in a one-on-one conversation with a very bright mind in the area of academia. And we're going to take our first commercial break. Once we return, I'm going to be with Mr. Olawale Fabinyi, who hails from Nigeria, but he's here in the nation of the Gambia in the educational sector, especially for the Ministry of Higher Education as MS technical advisor. We'll take up a break. Once we come back, I speak with him right here on the show.
We've got fantastic new social media bundles just for you. Here are your options.
50 megabytes for $10 is valid for 1 day.
Enjoy 400 megabytes for $40, valid for 7 days.
Get a massive 1,200 megabytes for $100 is only, valid for 7 days.
Simply dial *120# and press 3 to pick the social media bundle that suits you best. Subscribe now.
Welcome back from that short break. Just like I said, it remains the Pan-African Drive, and we are here to build bridges between and amongst African, especially when it comes to revitalization of the African unity. And I'm super honored to be here in a one-on-one conversation for Mr. Olawale Fabinyi. Should I say welcome to this platform, and we're super privileged to have you here today, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Howard. It's nice to be here.
That's a great one there from my guest right now. You know, you're a household name in the area of academia in this country, but for purpose of our diverse audience on Teledar TV, can you drive us through your academic and professional life? Who is Mr. Olawale Fabinyi?
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Howard. I'd like to put a bit of distinction.
Okay.
So I'm more of a technologist.
Okay.
Yeah. So I come from a computer science background. I have a bachelor's in computer science. Okay. I have a master's in AI, but I've been in the education sector for a while. Okay. I moved to the Gambia in 2014, and I was coordinating the computer science department at the American International University. Okay. And I, of course, coming from computer science background, I also do a lot of consultancies. So I'm best of both worlds. Okay. You know. And then by September last year, I moved to the Ministry of Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology as technical advisor on a World Bank funded project called EMIS, Higher Education Management Information System, that would help the ministry revitalize all its operations and the education sector.
Okay, you hear that from the house's mouth. He's in the area of technology. That's why we are going to be speaking on this edition of the Pan-African Drive on what I call technology, the catalyst for Africa's education and economic development. Quickly, let me not waste no time. There are a lot of people seated under the sound of a voice here today. When you look at our continent, Africa, 54 nations, recognized nations, and if you look at the various economies of Africa, you see that we are still lacking behind in several ramifications in the area of education, infrastructure, agriculture, and almost every ramification, Africa still struggles. And you being a technologist, drive us through, what do you think, how important is your area of specialization when it comes to enhancing the educational sector, not forgetting the economy of our African continent? How does technology come in?
All right, thank you very much. Technology is an enabler, as it is right now. In fact, we have left the era of software and technology, and we're moving into the age of AI right now. Okay. You know, so definitely with technology, things we could do. For example, I have a document, a 300-page document. How long am I going to take to read that document? I could upload this document into an an AI or a large language model, and then it reads and then summarizes for me. So with technology, technology is a catalyst, and it can help us leapfrog, actually do more. We go into agriculture, somebody in Basse, they want to know, like agricultural extension workers, they want to know what is happening in maybe the combos. How do they know this? Okay. So there are platforms, agri-tech platforms that people can actually buy, buy stuff. So there's a model they call farm to fork. Okay. So you can buy directly from the farmers. Okay. So this is what technology, can actually help. And technology now has made it level playing ground for everybody. So even if you don't know how to speak English, you can pick up ChatGPT or Cloud and then tell it, please write a letter for me. And it does everything for you. Please write a copy for me. The website copy. Doesn't that weaken the power function of the human mind that you have to use technology for virtually? You mentioned about ChatGPT. I'll tell you frankly, I don't know how to use that. I've never attempted using that because I feel that it's lazy for my person, so to speak. But considering all factors constant, drive us through the nitty-gritty of your work at the Ministry for Higher Education in terms of your day-to-day activities, and how does that enhance the educational sector of this nation, the Gambia, for a better future? All right, so thank you very much. So basically, as EMIS technical advisor, EMIS is an acronym for Higher Education Management Information System, and it's actually a digital transfer, a World Bank funded digital transformation project for the Ministry of Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology. We all know that the Ministry of Higher Education, MOAST, their mandate is actually to oversee everything that has to do with the education sector. So looking at this, they want a proactive way to actually get everything done. So for example, before now, if the ministry needs data, for example, maybe World Bank asks for data. For, let's assume, female students that graduated last year. What happens is, it gets to the ministry, maybe the planning department now routes that to tertiary and higher education departments. They will now start contacting the schools and then gather that data. All those things, or how many PhDs researchers do we have in Gambia, we cannot get that at the instant. Because why? You need to now contact each and every of those institutions. But EMIS is supposed to be a revolutionary platform whereby we connect to institutions and their systems. And those that do not have systems, they can actually, in fact, we came up with what I call the 4-level integration framework. So this framework, because you look at different institutions, they have different levels and capabilities of technology. Of course. Maybe I should name names. UTG, for example, they have sophisticated systems, right? So the 4-level, level 1, those that have sophisticated systems that can connect via API. API is an acronym for Application Programming Interface. So we have a web, let's assume we have a web platform. How can you connect from your mobile phone? There has to be an API. There's a database, right? So through your phone, you connect via API. So the web platform also connects to the database where the data is stored via API. So we connect to the institutions, get the data we need to get, and then the system, the EMIS platform now does the processing. So as much as possible. So this would actually enhance the work of the ministry. So it's more than just looking at just the education sector. Because if you look at it, digital transformation is incomplete if the ministry's operations is not also digitized. So the whole, from scholarship to procurement to finance, all the processes are actually digitized. So that is what we're looking at. So from day to day, what I do is currently I've architected the system. So just like you want to build a house, you get an empty land. What do? You get an architect to draw the plan. So I also work as not just an advisor on the project. I've architected the system. I make sure work on stakeholder consultations. I've moved around several institutions in the Gambia, and We've seen the capabilities of their system and making sure we are ready to integrate to what the ministry should need.
Okay, so considering all of the formalities discussed here, being a layman in the area of technology, you come from the technical background, and I am a social scientist, and you know that. So most of the messages are going to be quite strange to me, so I will want to learn greatly. So like I said, considering all of the factors or modalities involved in your work, projectively, looking at the Gambia and the system you work with, the educational system, higher education, projectively, where do you see the Gambia in terms of its technological advancement and economically, educationally in the next 10, 15 years, so to speak, with your experience?
All right, so we just need to get it right.
Okay.
Currently, the ministry, under the leadership of the minister, is doing a lot when it comes to education and education technology, and is also pushing for the MS platform because it will revolutionize how things are done.
Okay.
You know, so it's in the next even 5 years, we're hoping with the MS platform that the Gambia becomes a regional leader when it comes to higher education management information systems.
Okay.
Because what we're building is something that has not been seen. You know, so we're putting a lot.
That's a good news for the Gambian educational sector.
So we are hoping in the next 5-10 years, you know, this model we are building can also help serve other regional sisters and neighbors. Yeah.
Okay. That's Mr. Fabian. He's here sharing his expertise in the area of technology and its advancing level on our system as a continent and people, and there can be no better platform than the Pan-African Drive here. Quickly, let's leave the Gambia a little bit and step on a regional or continental level. Do you think with the emergence of the sciences and technology, most importantly, the artificial intelligence of which you got your masters in, are we prepared continentally? Do we have the prerequisite in place to meeting up these overwhelming opportunities that come with the artificial intelligence in serving as a catalyst for our economic growth, so to speak, as a continent?
So the reason why I actually had to, you know, exhale is this. So far in Africa, we have been more consumers than producers. So
from that deep breath, it shows like we're a bit far away.
Yes, we are.
Okay.
You know, but things are changing because policies need to be put in place.
Okay.
For example, last year, September, I was in Brussels to attend the Open Source Congress, which is the biggest congress when it comes to open source. So I should digress a bit. We talk about software. Even AI is also software, right? Software generally, your Microsoft Word, Excel, and all their software. So software, either we have proprietary software or open source software. So proprietary software is software that is owned by maybe an organization or a person, and the source code. You know, because softwares are written instructions that computers understand, they execute and all. But we also have open source software. I'm also good to mention that I'm an advocate for open source software. So we want to know how software works. So you can modify, you know, you can change things. So the same thing is happening with AI right now. You know, there's a push for open source AI. If not, you're going to put powers in, for example, OpenAI, Cloud, Olama, and the likes, Meta and all. If there are no open source models, you see that because it's very expensive, you know, to train AI models. Very, very expensive, tokens and all. So what open source models can actually, open source AI models can actually, it will have the weights and everything. It can actually help. It decentralizes, you know, access to information, to models, to AI. You know, in fact, right now there are open source AI models that you can run on your machine. You don't even have to be connected to the cloud where you have big data centers. You know, so things are changing because people are also, there's information, you know, available, YouTube. So people are learning. Africans are doing a lot, and I think the more we open access to information, you know, everything has to be open infrastructure, open technology, open access. For example, if YouTube was closed, then it's going to be a problem because people won't have access to learn stuff, you know. So the more things are open, that is why people keep pushing, you know, for openness. You know, openness not in the sense of, you know, well, sovereignty, not in the sense of, you know, building walls or building bridges, but in the sense that things are open and, you know, we can collaborate.
What does Africa stand to lose as a result of our inability to tap into the current advancement of artificial intelligence? What's the risk?
A lot. The risk is that we would then be outsourcing, you know, all our data.
Okay.
Because every time we use ChatGPT,
choosing expatriates and what have you.
You know, we use ChatGPT, we are training their models with whatever we are giving them.
Okay.
You know, so because we were talking about something earlier, you know, AI models, you were talking about people now using ChatGPT and
to solve all of the writing issues.
Because
somebody that I know that is not academically strong, no disrespect to them, but they have their own level they operate. And recently, I asked the person a question and they replied. When I read a message and I did my historicity of the person's previous academic works, and I'm like, how did the person have a master's degree overnight? Because the response was a master's degree holder that I was struggling with. And now I begin to ask myself, then I met him and said, Mickey, things are easy. And I went to him and I said, bro, is this you? You become so bright. And so, I said, hey, Mickey, I beg, this is not me that. That is ChatGPT. I'm like, I never thought about it. I don't even use that. Yeah.
So the discourse even right now is that when people see you write M dash, you say, oh, this is from ChatGPT. Forgetting that AI models are trained on what people have actually written, you know, published and all. So because it's a machine, it's garbage in, garbage out. If you don't train it on data, then it can. For example, if there's an AI model that actually looks at, that should be solving maybe healthcare problem or medical problems, how do they actually get to know that, okay, this is a tumor? They have to have been trained. I hope you get my point. They have to have been trained. So now, if we are now, you know, giving our outsourcing, our thinking to AI models,
we're just helping them to become better.
It helps them get better, but then what happens? They can't learn anymore, except we now get to AGI. You know, whereby maybe AI models start also thinking by themselves and actually coming up with stuff. You know, except that, but still they need that, you know, human intervention at the end of the day. You know, so it would not make you think very well because of course I use it. Sometimes I want to brainstorm ideas, you know, does this actually make sense? You know, of course to enhance. So it's not like you're giving it and, you know, all your mindset and all.
And just like we said, it remains a Pan-African Drive, and we are here in a one-on-one conversation with a technologist, in Mr. Olawale Fabin here, as he speaks with us on a very crucial topic here that has to do with technologies as a catalyst for Africa's educational and economic development, so to speak. Mr. Fabin, you've been in the educational sector for donkey years, not just in this country, from your homeland, Nigeria, so to speak. What are the economic viability of technologies to the African infrastructure development and other sectors, education, health, infrastructure? What are we gaining? What do we stand to gain? Why is it crucial that we tap into this at this modern time and age?
So, two things. Either you go with them or you stay back. If a doctor is supposed to see 100 patients, there are some tumors that a doctor might not know about. But if, for example, maybe an AI model has been trained with malignant tissues, you know, from all across the world, an AI model could easily, you know, tell this person. Something also came up online. Someone was like, oh, I saw my doctor using ChatGPT. Should I be afraid? And someone was like, don't worry, just leave him. You should be afraid. Just go home and use ChatGPT yourself. Because he has a background. Right? So technology makes things easy and better. You know? So we can't afford not to leapfrog on this. You know, just this afternoon, I saw, I can't remember their name, on LinkedIn. They're building an AI model for healthcare, you know, and they had tuberculosis and a lot of things, and it's open source. So with open source, people can contribute.
Okay.
You know, so rather than for proprietary software, it is if, for example, it's a single person company. I'm just saying, if the person something happens to him or he doesn't have time, he can close the project.
Okay.
Or even a proprietary company, maximum maybe they have 1,000 staff. But 100,000 people can actually contribute code when it comes to open source. So it's more of democratizing code,
Okay.
you know, as much as possible in every area and facets,
Okay.
you know, of our lives. We cannot do without technology. It's impossible.
Okay.
It's agriculture. While I was still at IUI, one of my students during our final year project, she built an IoT, Internet of Things project, whereby you can actually get to know the humidity of the soil. So that's, you can actually have a setup that checks if it is time to water the ground, you know, so check the temperature, check. So technology is an enabler, you know, in every facet. So
wow, we speak on technology being an enabler, just like you put it. If you look at the educational sector, you have people with a disability, so to speak. And what's the position of technology, especially your position as a technologist? How does it help people with disability to cope with the growing challenges of learning and, so to speak, in terms of easing it for them?
All right. So before now, for example, if we're looking at blind people, either they use Braille to read, but of course they can, with technology, it can actually, okay, so I think I should go with this. So there was this, when OpenAI, ChatGPT, they came out with their multimodal, they came up with their multimodal model, which multimodal means sound.
Yeah, you will have to be simplifying
text,
some of the terminologies.
Some multi, several.
Yes, of
sound,
course.
text, video. So they had a partnership with a company called Be My Eye.
Okay.
Like Be My Eye.
Okay.
So blind people can actually carry their phone, and it can help them book a taxi, or what am I looking at now? So it told the man that, oh, you're looking at Buckingham Palace, and the sun
just to
is
inject sharply, there's a Nigerian gospel musician, I just forgot the name. I saw him on TikTok, you know, reading his comment, you know, and then reacting to a particular comment, so to speak, and I was struggling. And he has the formula that he used there, and I was very shocked. And then it just tells how great technology has become over the years, and so to speak. Yeah.
So there are several tools, you know, that people with disability can actually get to, you know, to enjoy, because there's technology for everybody.
Okay.
You know, somebody's building something. So of course, as I said, technology helps, you know, make life easy and all.
With your experience in the classroom as a lecturer for a very long period of time, do we when I say we, young people, have the requisite mindset to cope with the adaptation of the current trend of technology, so that we're not left behind?
Two things. For those that want to be very serious, it would actually help them. While I was back at the university, you know, I actually forced my students to write assignments on paper.
Okay.
So you could go to ChatGPT, go to Cloud, go to Grok, but then while you're writing, you're reading.
Okay, of course. So that something stays with you.
But because if you tell them type it, they just go copy.
Is there a copy down?
Even when they write, so you see some AI generated content, they still write on paper. You know, so it's I believe it's doing more harm than good. You know, right now, because students need to also be sensitized.
Okay.
AI should actually, well, when I say AI use,
okay,
during my master's, you know, there was a particular course on how to do research, and it was mentioned with AI tools.
Okay.
So they know it has come upon us. We cannot run away from it.
There's nothing you can do about it.
We just need to adapt. Because a student can tell you, oh, I wrote this. Right? So what do? Are you going to fail them? Even though now we have AI detectors.
But if you've been in a classroom for more than 6 months to 1 year with a particular student, let us say at the level of the university, you should be able to tell if the student is actually using a mind or a borrowed mind.
Of course. So it's hard, but I believe because students also want easy these days. But those, of course, there are a lot that also want something out of their life, while some just want the certificate or the degree.
Okay.
You know, but as much as possible, those that are learning and those that, even in Gambia, yeah, I know a lot of people that are building stuff, building great products, you know, in fintech, agri-tech, you know. So people are actually taking advantage of this.
It's a great conversation here on Teledar TV with me, Tony Michael Howard, on the Pan-African Drive. For those of you that are watching on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and X, this remains a platform. We are super grateful for your viewership and support. Like, share, and comment so that somebody taps into this fountain of knowledge, Mr. Fabian, as he speaks to us here on the importance of technology in catalyzing Africa's educational and economic growth. Every positive has an element of negative as well. And as much as we are at the age of the sciences and technology, artificial intelligence, but a lot of people are going to lose their jobs. Have you thought of that?
Okay, I'll give you an example.
I am getting scared.
So there was this guy from, I think from Europe or from America. He came up with a band, a Japanese band that rose to, you know, top level on Spotify. And he earned so much money and people loved the band. This was just, I think, last week. And then at the end of the day, they found out that this guy was actually, you know, AI generated. Because one of the videos, I think it had an extra, you know, AI hallucinates, right? It had an extra. And so what did this guy do? He then went to scouts. I think there were about five or six scouts. Scout for people and actually from Japan and actually came up with a band. So what did AI just do? Just created jobs. And then from there they were going for shows. In fact, they said they're overbooked now. So the same thing, you cannot, you know, say, okay, this is AI. AI is not going to take your job. It's just going to make your job better.
Is that a misconception that people like us have had?
Definitely.
That is going to make people lose their jobs?
Okay, give me an example and I'll give you an answer.
No, I'm just asking a question. Are you saying that is a misconception that we've had about AI, that people are going to lose their jobs because of its emergence? So it's not true?
For people that do not want to leapfrog, of course they will lose their job. For people, for example, you're a developer. In fact, they are now saying AI is going to, you know, get developers packing. You know, that you won't need, because there's cloud code. You can just go to maybe ChatGPT or any of these AI tools and say, build me a website. But when you tell it to build you a website, it's more than that. Building a platform, you have security, you have authentication. It could build some of these things. But how do you orchestrate things? How do you actually publish them? There are a lot of things.
So the areas of finishing touches will have your man's effort.
Definitely. So there should always be that man in the loop. The man has to be there. Because at the end of the day, even though we're hearing that some AI, you know, AI platforms, the AI models are thinking of shutting down or shutting people out and then building their own. In fact, there's something called open cloud now. You know, so it's like AI agents, you know, having their own world, their own social media. It's actually one of the fastest rising technology right now. So, for example, you connect, they use a Mac Mini. Mac Mini, you set it up, you connect your WhatsApp and everything. So let's say someone has been calling me and I've been missing somebody's call. It could send me a notification. So it's like a personal agent. You know, you can look at
if you like personal PA.
Yes.
Or PA, like that mean also personal PA, personal assistant. Yes.
In fact, you could run a one-man company whereby you have a developer, you have a manager, you know, you have a designer, all on AI. You know, so you build a company based on those agents.
Then
so
that is validating my assumption that a lot of people are going to lose their jobs. In that regard.
Again, like I said, you need to move forward. So if you decide to stay on your own,
then you're going to lose.
Definitely. You know, but if you decide to, what you're doing currently, you decide to
improve personal development.
You know, look at how AI can make your work better, of course. It's a win-win. at the end of the day.
How does the leadership of the African continent utilize the current emergence of the artificial intelligence so that it is decentralized in a manner that reflect, that have a positive trickle-down effect on the masses in terms of development, in terms of infrastructure, in terms of all areas of the fabric of the African society? How do we tap into this?
Right. So I was talking about when I was in Brussels in September last year. So we had leaders from open source foundations across the world, from Microsoft, from Red Hat, from the EU and the EU Commission. So one thing I love about them is that Europe, as much as possible, even in North America too, the government, the government actually comes in, when it comes to working on policies and all. And I actually made one comment. You cannot love me during that Congress. You cannot love me the way you want to love me. You have to love me the way I want to be loved. So this has to do with when policies are created, the people that these policies affect, are they actually included? So we're talking about software, we're talking about AI. So the people
if I want to deduce cleverly what you get, the policies must be designed within the context of the specifics of the nation state, not on a general level.
No. The people need to be involved. Because you cannot say you're creating a policy that affects, for example, let's say media people.
Yeah.
And then you don't bring in the media people.
Bring them involved.
So those
it won't stick. It won't enter.
It would even happen, but you're doing something the wrong way.
Yes.
Because you just get what usually happens. They get a practitioner from the West, even though we could have professionals on ground. So you have to always people and policies, especially in Africa, and it's something there's a new project I'm working on called ODSI, Open Digital Sovereignty Initiative. So the essence is to actually look at open source and look at the people behind this project. Someone is in Kenya, building infrastructure, maybe health infrastructure that will work, across board. Somebody in Ghana can actually collaborate. In fact, there was a friend of mine. He was working on an open source project. It's gaining momentum now. And I posted about it, and somebody is in Nigeria. Another friend from South Africa was like, "Hey, can I up on this project?" So this is what open source does. So as much as possible, the government needs to actually bring people that the policies are for into the picture. So in this case, when we're talking about AI, people that build this, technology system need to be involved when it comes to. So it shouldn't just be, pushed to maybe professional. It builds without the context of the people that it's meant for.
That's a great one there from you. We're going to take our commercial break here. Once we return, we continue this conversation here with Mr. Fabien here as he speaks with us on the importance of technology in enhancing Africa's education and economic development. We come back shortly.
Every time you buy credit or data, that's a speed and win waiting on your MyAfriCell app. 50 megabytes, 100 megabytes, 5 gigabytes of internet data, Tanga. Credit or data purchases, spin and win rec. AfriCell and AfriMoney, where loyalty pays and the fun never fades.
Welcome back from that short break here, and be reminded that this edition of the Pan-African Drive is proudly sponsored by AfriCell, the best GSM service provider in the Gambia. Mr. Fabien, most times when the leadership of our respective nations get to the hem of affairs, their focus is in the urban areas, and if you drove from here and you found yourself in remote communities like Fonyi or Alatentu, or if you like Kiang and remote communities of the Gambia, you see that there is a massive gap between those who live in those areas compared to those at the urban areas. what does your ministry, what is the ministry doing in the Gambia to ensure that everybody is brought on board as far as the advancement of technology in the educational sector is concerned? I mean, the downtrodden masses that are in remote communities of this country. How can they form part and parcel in benefiting the growth of technology and enhancing their lives?
All right, thank you very much. Basically, with that, there are TVET centers in these areas. You know, it's not everyone that can actually go to a university. Some people want to learn skills.
Of course.
You know, there are several skill centers, you know, going up country and all. So I believe this is actually catering to that aspect, and those that need to actually go to school are coming this way. In fact, there was this is why the ministry, not just us, you know, ministries, governments, you know, parastatals need data. So with data, they are informed.
Okay.
So if, for example, I'm just saying 80% of students are coming from Fonyi, for example.
Okay. So
with data available, the ministry would then do what? Go and open a campus in Fonyi. But without data, that becomes impossible.
It becomes a challenge.
You know, so data is extremely important. Extremely important, and it is something we should actually tap into as much as possible. Okay.
We are driving close to the end of this conversation here on Teledar TV. For those of you in my homeland, Mama Liberia, that say to you in Pelakasa, Adamaka platform Kanka to Sierra Leone people that say to you on Akushio too. Swahili speaking nations of Nairobi, Kenya, and Tanzania say to you Jumbo that say Asante Sana. Thanks so dearly much to my friend Constantino Pialotero in Boston. I say to you Readable Helabo, Lentin Jahaho, Sanibunani Mzanzinge and Nimbingeleda. That's KwaZulu Natal people. French speaking nations, I say merci dans les support. To the Igbos in Nigeria, say to you one name the number Ikaraka Iji Mechuko Abiyama Amama Amasi Oshimili Atata Eku Mechuko Kike Odoku Akataka. Strengthening all of you wherever you are under the sound of my voice. To my friend Ifon Koya Kolade of Ogun State, Nigeria, that say to you about Nisha Otuto Jomenta. Ishe thanks so much for supporting us. To the northern part of the country, Nigeria, that is dominantly Islamic, I say to you Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi barakatuh. To the Gambian people in Wolof who say Jerejef to the Matinga who say Ndenyana Dunia. I will never forget you to the full, as we say. This is the Pan-African Drive, and I am with Mr. Fabien as he speaks of us on the importance of technology, should I say, technology as a catalyst for Africa's education and economic development. Let's come back to on a broader level of the African continent. We are retrogressing. We are behind, just like you took deep breath. And you can't stay behind. You have to join the trend of technologies. What are the risks involved in nations like the Central African Republic, the Sudan? These nations are in wars. Their government cannot be in the right position now to benefit the enhancement or the progress that the likes of artificial intelligence brings on the table. What can regional and continental bodies, peace authority do to ensure that all of these wars are curtailed, so that we are all brought on board, so that the creation of an enabling environment for all to thrive is stored as a continent?
All right, first I'll start with, there's an adage that says, when your neighbor's house is burning, and you say, okay, it's not my house.
Not my house.
It could get into yours.
Because you feel comfortable, but it could get to you, just like you put it.
Looking at the war in Iran currently, it's affecting in Nigeria.
Of course.
You know, so looking at it generally, as much as possible, I don't want to talk about politics. But then, you know, if leaders come in with the interests of the people, I wouldn't say there might not be takeovers, but then when things, they would justify it that, this leader is overusing his time, he's not doing things well, you know. But sometimes also, you won't even blame the leaders.
Okay.
Because, for example, look at President Adama Barrow. He has several people on. Is he going to see what is happening for you?
No. That's why I said a government is a body of persons charged with the responsibility of steering the affairs of the state, not one person.
Yes. And then generally, it's difficult because, especially in Africa, People like to sing praises, and instead of those, underneath, special advisors and all, to tell him this is what is happening, this is what people are saying. They, Oga, you're doing very well, not knowing that it's not even
there.
For example, if they say, okay, disburse palliatives or send money, to people and all, who does that? Not the president. We have to look at it in reality. So people are the function of their government, or the government is a function of its people.
That's right.
As much as I believe also because the foundation, somewhere the foundation was, lost somehow, and people say, because if there's a structure, it's impossible for you to come into government and then, you want to keep going on and on and on and on. There's a structure. In fact, I tell people it's easy to make money in Africa.
Okay.
Also,
a lot of people are not going to be comfortable with that, though. Easy to make money in Africa.
If you look at the West, there's a structure. Because of structure, you see that people cannot, it makes you get comfortable. But it might be difficult to say extremely wealthy people.
Okay.
Everyone is comfortable, you're paying your tax, and all. But
basic life amenities are there.
Yeah. So if with basic life amenities in Africa, things will get better. What Africa just needs is infrastructure. So we keep talking about AI technology. Data is most important. Look at Facebook, look at these AI companies. What product do they have? Nothing. How do they make money? Data. They mine data. So for example, you do a Google search, or I'm looking for something, a shoe, and then you go on Facebook, you see it there. How? Cross-selling.
That's right.
In marketing. So,
but there are a few countries that are making progress in the area of technology across Africa. Few nations are getting there. Port Louis, Mauritius are getting there. President Boko Juma of Botswana is also getting there with his people. Namibia is getting there with people. But on the other side of the continent, we are always lacking behind one way or the other. What's the missing puzzle? How do we get it right so that we join the moving train and then enjoy the basic amenities that come with all advanced technology, so that we cannot be seated down under the table, instead seated on the same dining table of other civilizations to compete at the highest level when it comes to technology?
Again, it's infrastructure. Maybe leadership, who wants to call it leadership. There's not Gambia now. Of course, we enjoyed light a lot.
Of course.
A place like Nigeria, you might not have light, and you're doing your business, you need light, So infrastructure is a problem. If the issue of light is solved across Africa, well, maybe the West, things will move for a lot of people.
Okay.
So infrastructure is one. You talk about electricity, and then the infrastructure for whatever because we're talking of sovereignty. Sovereignty, not in terms of, building a wall.
No.
But in terms of openness. So you have your own infrastructure, and then your data resides. How many data centers do we have in Africa?
We have.
So it has to maybe first go to Europe. Of course, I think there are a few in South Africa and, I think Rwanda right now, and a few others.
Yes, but Rwanda doing well too. Yeah.
Yeah. So what I'm saying in essence is, if the infrastructure is there,
yes,
the leaders, they build infrastructure. That is one way to go. With the right infrastructure, there's good roads. There's power. There's good internet. All these things are actually the catalyst. Right?
Yes.
All these things are actually the catalyst. Without light, it's going to be a problem. We won't even be here right now.
We do the show. That's
Without
right.
internet, good internet.
They can be uploaded.
And then looking at data also, data should actually reside. That's what data sovereignty is. Your data should reside. Look at, for example, if, let's look at, I don't want to go political still, but a very simple example, the ID card.
With the immigration department.
Yeah.
Okay.
That data should be in here, in the Gambia, not outside. Because your data is your most important resource. With your data, anything can happen. Social security numbers, and all. All those are extremely important, and those data should never, in fact, that kind of project should never have been,
outsourced as well.
Outsourced. Or if it will be outsourced, then there should be the case of data residency
in here in the Gambia, but it should be localized in essence. Okay.
So, in fact, when it comes to also, because, for example, on our project, we would also, because there'll be a lot of data from institutions internally and all, so we'd also need to do, for example, natural language processing, whereby you can tell the platform, oh, how many students graduated last year, and it generates a report or a dashboard for you with natural language. And that has to do with what? An AI model.
Okay.
So rather than that's going into the cloud, process and come back, which means that data is going to the cloud, it can actually be done locally, because there are open source AI models like Olama that can actually get that done. So it's just to know what we need to do. We have experts. We have experts across Africa that can actually get things done.
Talking about experts across Africa, you've been in the Western world. Recently, you were in Belgium, like you put it, and then, of course, you did your master's in Germany. You must have spent some time there, so to speak. With your knowledge in the area of technology and doing a comparative analysis of Africa to the rest of the world, do you think we are competitive enough, or we are expected to be competitive in the shortest period of time when it comes to the enhancement of all technology in our education and economic development? Are we competitive enough to the rest of the world, or are we going to be competitive enough to the rest of the world? And if yes, what's the time frame you're looking at projectively?
We cannot, unfortunately. Again,
what are the roadblocks that hinder that?
Infrastructure is one.
So still boys and
infrastructure still. So you're working, you're building something, like building software, light goes off in between and all. That's aside. So I can remember vividly in 2003, 4, 5, I was doing a diploma at Yaba College of Technology.
Okay.
And we did COBOL.
That's Nigeria.
Yes, in Nigeria, yeah. COBOL, Fortran, BASIC. These were programming languages from the 50s, 60s, 70s. We're just doing, and it was in the final semester. We did Java.
Wow.
But in 2005, after my diploma, I moved to Malaysia for my bachelor's. In the first semester, we were doing Java. We're doing Oracle. So but things are moving.
Okay.
Things are,
So there's a hope and conviction that we're going to get better, but with time.
Definitely.
But not competitive enough to the rest of the world.
No, I don't know when that would happen. Again, I have a friend on LinkedIn. As at 1980s, is a much older friend. As at I think the late 80s, he was head of cards.
Okay.
At a bank, I don't want to mention, a bank in London.
Okay.
As at 1980, when did we start having cards in Africa?
Tell me about it.
And then as at 2005, from my account, from my bank account in Malaysia, I could send Western Union transfer to my people at home from my bank account.
Yes.
There were cash deposit machines as of 2005, check deposit machines 2005. That's 21 years ago. I think recently EcoBank just launched their cash deposit machine last year.
Recently.
So look at it.
So the gap is too wide.
So a lot is happening. Research is being funded. You see, a lot of technology we're seeing today actually comes from university, right? Research. So, for example, a company pumps maybe $1 million into maybe MIT or Harvard, and then a research comes out. When it is commercialized, they could make, billions.
Yeah,
that's how it works.
People just tap into that and just utilize.
Yeah. So a lot of technology we use today is actually from academia. So it's and that is not happening in Africa as much as it should. There's no original research. And it's even worse now with the advent of AI now.
Okay.
You can go online and get a full research paper. Gets it for you. So it's going to be a challenge, but those that would still, get the headway will, because you see that Africans outside Africa are doing extremely well.
Okay.
In all spheres, so it's not a capacity problem.
Okay.
It's it's an infrastructure. It's a territory problem.
I know you've emphasized infrastructure more than 2, 3, 4 times. Let's say you're given not more than 10 minutes to be seated before policymakers, government institutions head, and educational authorities, and so to speak, to offer lectures on key tips of technologies in the enhancement of all Africa's economic development, so to speak, not more than 10 minutes or so to speak. What would be the key points of focus? I know you've mentioned infrastructure. What are the key points of focus that will make that lectures a very deductive one for those under the sound of a voice at a time?
All right, thank you for that. So we'll leave infrastructure again, right? So research is extremely important.
Okay.
Research is like looking for knowledge. So you try this, if this doesn't work, you try this. So research is extremely important.
Okay.
I believe government should actually fund research a lot. In Africa, a few things happen in Africa, but still, funded by the West.
Still fun.
For example, while I was at IU, I was part of, the institution was part of ARUA, African Research Universities Alliance, which was funded by UKRI and GCRF.
Wow.
So what are we doing in Africa?
And you target as Africa research whatever.
So whatever you do still goes back to them. That data still goes back.
Yeah.
We need to institutionalize, data research
here on the continent
as much as possible.
Wherever you are right now, it remains a Pan-African Drive with me, Tony Michael Howard, CK News Socrates, and I'm in a one-on-one conversation with Mr. Olawale Fabinyi, who hails from Nigeria, but he's here as a technocrat, then offering his expertise on the catalyst, technology as a catalyst to Africa's education and economic development. Before we take leave of you shortly, what are your final words to viewers out there, to students who have been under your instructions, and those that are aspiring to be technologists? What do you have to say to them?
All right. My final words will be open-minded. Just be open-minded. Be ready to learn.
Okay.
To unlearn. And then be ready to learn before you start earning. As much as possible, we want that instant gratification. You should be able to learn as much as possible. You build yourself.
Personal development.
Personal development. My sister was just telling me that there was a friend of ours that earns 40 million naira.
Monthly.
Yearly.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
I'm sure there are people that earn 40 million naira monthly too.
Of course.
Yes. Sometimes opportunities, we talk about grace, those things, but also if you do not build yourself, so as much as possible, people should be ready to learn, put in the work, which is lacking a lot right now. And then the problem is also what? Technology, because people go on Snapchat, they go on TikTok, they say, oh, they're small, they get intimidated by what they see, rather than, you don't know what that person, you don't know how that person got to where they got to.
Of course.
They could have given it, a lot of effort. Or maybe an uncle or an aunt or their parents are, have given them that leverage.
Yeah.
So as much as possible, young people should be ready to put in the work. And with, of course, God's grace, and the leading and direction. Because getting the right information is also very important.
Information.
You're very good, you're good, but if you're not directed, if you're not led, everything leads back to God.
Of course.
You could be sleeping and an idea comes to your head and it becomes.
That's right.
But how do ideas actually come in? Sometimes when people sleep, different people believe different things. The spiritual realm, God, we believe in God, some people don't believe in God, But the spiritual is the spiritual.
Of course.
Some things will come. Maybe even while you're thinking or you're sleeping. So, and then there should be time for reflection, meditation, alone time. So you build yourself, prepare for that opportunity. I believe there's nothing like luck. And luck is actually preparation. When you prepare, an opportunity comes, then it meets you there. But you're not prepared, even if it's handed to you on a platter of gold, you'll fail.
That's right.
At the end of the day.
You heard that from the house's mouth, and he says that we should continue to learn and unlearn. He spoke about personal development, the need to build yourself and keep learning. Even when you've not started earning, continue to learn, because it's very important if you wish to remain very competitive in such a complex contemporary world that we survive in. It's a great experience having you, Mr. Having you on the show, and it is my hope and conviction that young people under the sound of a voice today will have the opportunity to learn from a fountain of knowledge like you in the area for technology, because I have learned too today. You know, coming from a social scientific background. You need to offer me extra private class after this. Yeah, so those of you watching us on Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, and X, it remains a Pan-African Driver platform meant to build bridges between and amongst nations. Your viewership and support is very crucial to us. In the absence of your support, there is no Teledar TV. Great experience with me, Tony Mikiel Howe, our line news secretaries. Thank you. Catch you some other time. Bye-bye.